Hello and welcome to day 6 of Inktober 2019 and the prompt word Husky. I'm working in my A4 sized Moleskine art book today, and you can see a piece that I did last year for Inktober. I haven't put in another piece since then, and I'm doing another character design today, but this one isn't an original character. It's a fan art of two famous sumos, or at least to me they're famous character designs that are already out there. The first is Ganryu from the Tekken franchise, who I'm sure many of you may already know, especially if you're a gamer and you have played any of the Tekken games. And the second one, maybe very few or no one will know. It is Rumbler from the Prime World MOBA, the massively online battle arena. And that game is a Russian game, so I wouldn't be surprised if no one else knows about it except for me. But I play that game a lot. I really love it. I think the character designs in it are amazing, and the sumo character Rumbler is awesome in that game. So I've combined a whole bunch of different reference photos to pull off this character design because I don't have the skills to do it all from my imagination. I'll put some of those up to show you where the images have come from. A couple of taken from Ganryu from Tekken, one from Rumbler of Prime World, but I also wanted to give him a weapon, so I took another reference for that giant mace. I guess it's some sort of mace or wrecking ball, and then another reference for the helmet, the samurai warrior helmet, and then in the end I decided to also drive myself a little bit crazy by putting in a background, and I decided to use one of the famous Hokusai woodblock prints of his 36 views of Mount Fuji, and that tied the piece together, I think. Partly because, once again, I didn't do a thumbnail, I'm crazy, and so I had everything a little bit left of center, and in fact, obviously the weapon doesn't fit on the page, and so I save it, I think, or I feel like I managed to save it by putting in a border and also the background. I also wanted to show you how long this sort of character design process takes. At least for me, I spent over 4 hours on it, and at first I didn't record because I knew I would get a little bit nervous and it would just be a very slow process. And in fact, I think this is why you don't see a lot of art YouTubers showing their initial sketching phases, because it does just take a lot of time and you have to stop and think a lot, and or at least I do, and there's a lot of corrections going on and erasing things, like for example the mawashi here, or the belt. I completely changed that design several times, and in the end I end up with something that I'm happy with, but it takes me quite a while to get there, and I have to think about the sizing and flow of it and all those sorts of things. It takes quite a bit of effort. And so I just wanted to show you a little bit of that real time way back at the beginning. It's moved on since then now, and now we've gone into the speed paint section, but I think it can be useful for you to see that, especially if you're aspiring to get better at drawing and you see people sketching really fast on the speed paint. In fact, they've sped it up massively, and it's a slow process. And again, especially for me, I don't do a lot of character design yet. I'm slowly learning how to do it, or I'm trying to learn how to do it, and it's a real challenge. I also wanted to put in a few elements of my own. I put the hands in a position by myself using the weapon. I give him some gaita or some wooden shoes, and I also just tinker with his face and a few features there a little bit, and so I put my own stamp on it to some degree, but mostly this is from existing references. And if you're interested in getting into character design and you don't know where to start and you find it really overwhelming, I really recommend that you look at some different reference photos, maybe some from fan arts or things that you really enjoy already, or existing characters, and then use those references a number of different ones to kind of merge together to form your own. It's a really fascinating and fun process, at least for me, and maybe it will be for you. And definitely it's helping me to learn how to draw, both anatomy and characters and just general design. I'm finally going into the inking stage. I'm using Zebra Sensations brush pens for that. 3 different nib sizes, and they're plastic nibs with a flexible nib to it, or the nib is flexible is what I want to say. So you can get a lot of varying line widths just from the nib alone, but the fact that I have 3 different nib size pens also gives me a lot of line weight variation. And as I mentioned before, I'm basing the background off a very famous woodblock print from Hokusai of Japan. This is one of his 36 views of Mount Fuji, so you can see Mount Fuji in the background. Herons or cranes flying in the distance, and then a lot of clouds and landscapes in front of it. And some elements, obviously, I cut out because the Ganryu Rumbler character is taking up a lot of the space there. I'm using a number 3 micron, which is a chisel tip, to add a thick border. I got that recently in a Sketchbox grab box, and I'm really loving that set of pens, and that chisel tip is coming in handy all the time. And then once I've got the basics of the line weight down, I decide to go in with the thickest of the Zebra Sensations brush pens and outline Ganryu, and so that way he'll stand out a little bit more. I may even go back at some point and add a little bit more details to the background with the fine pen, but I'm not sure yet. And certainly I want to color it sometime. Initially I thought I would color it today and use Copic markers for that, but I just spent already hours on this, so I'm just going to leave it at the inking stage, and it'll be a great fun future coloring page project for me. In fact, this is the sort of thing I had in mind originally when Inktober was kicking off. Way back in September, my goal was to do thumbnails for a whole bunch of different coloring pages, but I never got around to it, so this can just be one standalone page. Thank you so much for watching. If you stuck with it, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave me a comment down below to let me know what you think of this piece, and I'll see you guys soon for another Inktober art adventure. Take care, everyone. Bye.